What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last week on Project Dimebag, we got that Whipple supercharger installed, but the fabrication is not over. It is time for our exhaust. Kind of excited about it, also kind of nervous. So to start off, we got our headers, and this is our first issue. Our header outlet with this little bubble flange is below our frame. So the first step we're gonna be doing is cutting this back, adding a vibrant V-band clamp, and we're gonna have to make some kind of angle coming up with some pie cuts, getting it above this little cross member. Then we're planning on swooping through here underneath our transmission and our drive shaft with an X pipe, and then swooping back out into our mufflers. So this is all Vibrant Performance materials. We're using 3-inch 304 stainless. We got these mufflers also from Vibrant. They are sharp looking. And then we're gonna be coming out of the muffler and maybe either coming down underneath our 4-link bracket and then coming out the side here and landing somewhere on the side of our bed with a side exit. So that's kind of the plan. Makes it sound easy like that, but as you all know, it ain't gonna be easy. But we do have all of our material here. We got some 60-degree bends that I believe I'm gonna be using for my X pipe. We have 245s, we got 4 90s, and then I got these 130-degree mandrel bends. So we got all that. I got 4 boxes of pie cuts. I got my V-bands, and I got just like some miscellaneous stuff to support all the exhaust system, some hangers and some stuff like that. So I think the first step, we got to get this other header installed and start cutting it back and making sure that we're going to be able to get up and over that cross member. All right, now I got both of my headers mocked up, passenger side, our driver's side. Driver's side is a lot closer. Matter of fact, it's jamming into the cross member on this frame here. Passenger side's got a little bit of clearance, and it actually looks like it's up a tad bit higher. But after you kind of mock up your V-band with a couple of our pie cuts coming up as fast as we can, and kind of determine we're gonna have to pretty much cut out as much of this flange off of our header as possible. So I might as well just do them both the same, giving myself enough room obviously to make a nice weld past this factory weld from our collector into our 3-inch. So that's gonna be my first step. I'll go ahead and take these headers back off, probably put them over in the bandsaw, cut this meat out, and go ahead and weld on our flange for our V-band clamp. All right, we got our little bubble flanges cut off. We got our new Vibrant V-bands tacked onto our headers. I believe these are Ultimate Header Company or something. I'm not really sure. These were provided to us. Seems like a pretty nice product. We've never used them before. They have a nice little flange on there. This comes all with the kit, I guess. Have these flanges. They're pretty nice. So luckily I cut off enough that we'll be able to use these down the road if we need to. In true Salvage to Savage style. Even comes with your O2 sensors bung, so definitely gonna save these for future. Probably shop build. Anyways, at this point I'll go ahead and get these things bolted back onto the motor, and then we have a nice starting point. Even after cutting a bunch off the collector and these two right here, which are not modified in any way, they are maybe a 1/16 away from the frame right there. So I don't think that's gonna be ideal. So luckily I only tacked on my V-band, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that back off and take like another 1/4 inch off the collector, get my V-band tacked back on, and just try to get our 3-inch pipe here, maybe hopefully like a 1/4 inch off of our frame rail. That should probably be plenty. That's the problem with this custom stuff, baby. So I cut the pipe after the collector back pretty much as far as I could. Any more than that where I'll start getting into the collector. So, but I think we're all right now. We have maybe a 1/4 inch of clearance between our frame and the bottom of our 3-inch pie cut. So I think we're gonna work with that. So right now I'm kind of starting to come up and over towards the transmission a little bit because our X pipe is gonna be pretty tight in here. So I'm gonna wanna try to get my 3-inch pipe as close to this transmission without obviously touching it. So that way I could start to make my turn shortly after it and start getting into our X pipe area. So I think that's where I'm at right now. I'll probably start making my X pipe into this area so that it sits pretty tight to our transmission cross member mount. Pretty much ready to go ahead and start making our X pipe. I got the center of our 60-degree bend. I'm gonna be taking 1 inch out of both sides.
All right, we're gonna take a little bit of break from the fabrication action, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about our merch deal for this week. We are still gonna continue our sticker pack deal from last week, but we're gonna step it up a notch this week, and we're gonna be offering a free Salvage to Savage OG Piston logo hat whenever you spend $65 or more on anything in our store. So make sure you guys hurry up over there quick because it's only while supplies last. So make sure you hit the link in the description to grab whatever you can for the holidays.
All right, now that we got our little baby X pipe in place, we got plenty of clearance around our drive shaft. We also have clearance around our transmission. We have clearance to the bottom of our frame. Down here, I put a little piece of like 1/2 inch or probably 5/8 piece of wood, giving me a little clearance on off the bottom. So at this point, we are ready to start connecting some dots. I'm gonna go ahead and start over here on the driver's side. We already have a couple pie cuts placed into our V-band, kind of angled slightly towards the transmission and up. So we'll continue this, try to come closer here, and then we're gonna start angling towards our X pipe. All right, whoop, there it is. Driver's side is connected to our X pipe. Everything is just tacked together. I have some timing marks on this connection here because this might have to come back apart. There's a little tape kind of jammed in there, so I may have to get that apart again and fix that, but I got some timing marks so it'll go back in the same exact position. All right, the last piece for this end, which will close out everything pretty much under the cab. I got a 7.5 piece I'm gonna cut here, and then we'll go ahead and move back to this area and start getting our mufflers laid out. It's all tacked together, pretty much set in stone. The next thing we're over here debating is where to put our mufflers. The original plan was to lay them here, laying flat, because our plan was to come out the side of our bed, out of the bed, out of the wheel well, in front of the wheel, like here. So obviously the further this is that way, the harder that's gonna be. So we tried to push it forward a little bit, but then that kind of makes this connection impossible. We thought about cutting this back, turning a quick 90 and another quick 90, which would be kind of difficult. I mean, even that's not going to be an easy task. So we also thought about the idea of standing it up dropping this guy like that, making that connection much easier. Kind of looks cool like that too. And then coming out of the back side, I can turn this the other way, so our outlet is on the bottom, and then I'm just going to be able to turn a 90 underneath the link bars, come through here, and then find my spot. So I think that might be our solution. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little stand to hold up our mufflers, kind of fix them in position. All right, now I got my mufflers situated exactly where they're gonna sit. We are centered on our drive shaft. This rope here, string, is the center of my drive shaft. It's not the height, but it is the center, so we're equal distance on both sides. We are equal distance on our inlet on this side off of our pipes and the cross member here on the frame. Once I get these connected with our V-band, then I'll be able to level out our backside or maybe even drop it, I'm not sure. But yeah, looking good. All right, we're making some progress on our exhaust. We are fully connected from our headers all the way back to our mufflers. Again, all this stuff is very merely tacked. So at this point, we're gonna have to get real tricky. Our hopes are to exit about, I don't know, maybe 5 inches in front of our rear wheel in the bed, probably in that blue section down below. So I already went over, took a measurement from our center of our cab bolt to where I'm trying to exit, 24 inches to the edge of my 3-inch pipe. So we're coming down here, and as you see, it is pretty much in line with the outlet of the muffler, which means we're gonna have to do a 90 sharp to 90 down, then 90 this way, and see where we fall. Let me walk on over here to the bed to give us a little reference. So 24 inches landed me somewhere, you know, about this area. My first step is going to be tacking together a whole bunch more pie cuts. All right, now we got 12 pie cuts all tacked together. That just looks fancy. So let's see how this works out here. Yeah, I think maybe I just put like a little 1-inch or 3/4 inch piece of straight in between our pie cuts just to get me a little lower. I think that probably work out. Passenger side exit is pretty much complete for now. We got about 12 pie cuts coming down. We got a 45 coming down under our link bar. And this is where I'm gonna stop for now. As you see, pretty much landed right where I wanted to. So this is gonna be my exit point. I'm gonna go move on to the other side and basically do the same exact thing. All right, now that we got our exit on the driver's side tacked up in there, that pretty much completes our exhaust install at this point until we get our bed back on the chassis and we could determine exactly where our exhaust is gonna exit out the side of the truck. I'm pretty happy with it. As you guys see, we had to modify our headers to start. We got our V-band on, a bunch of pie cuts to our custom X-pipe, both sides. Pretty symmetrical all the way through. We got our vibrant mufflers. We have 42 52 pie cuts so far on this project already. So that means it's gonna be a whole lot of welding. We feel like it's probably best to weld as much as we can in place so we don't come up with a whole bunch of warping and end up twisting things around. Our plan is to use some back purging this time. So what we're gonna start with is pulling our headers. We're gonna tape the ports in the heads. We'll bolt them back on. That way we don't have our argon flowing into the engine. We're also gonna tape all the seams basically that we're not gonna be welding on so we don't get the argon escaping out of that. And then we're gonna come back here, we're gonna pull our V-bands. This is where we're gonna set up our purging. So we're gonna plug one, the other one will be used for the flow of the argon.
Okay, now that we got our exhaust all welded up, I went ahead and pulled the headers because we got to finish welding these V-band flanges. Same thing, we're going to do a back purge. I'll probably poke a hole in one of these so that there's a way for the argon to escape. And then after that's done, we'll go back over to our exhaust, and we got a little bung here that we're going to weld on for our O2 sensor.
Alright, so we are trying to kill a couple birds with one stone here. We're going to be mounting up an angle for our bed floor in the back here. So we have our laser level here at the bottom of our bed floor. So we have these lines already marked. So we're going to take our 1.5 by 1.5 inch piece of steel angle. We're going to drill it out, and then we're going to bolt it through the back of this and on the sides. We're also going to be adding a piece going across this way, and we're going to use that framework to add a little more support to our bed, and then we're also going to use it to mount our mufflers. So we'll have a piece of angle going across here that we'll use to, you know, get a couple rods with some kind of mounting brackets for our mufflers. So we got that. I think that's about it. So let's pull this bed off.
Yeah.
Bed's back on the chassis. We got our framing pretty much in. It's all bolted in on the sides. This right here, I just got vice gripped on there. This will get welded, and I'll probably add 2 little cross pieces going across where our mounts are gonna go. That will hold up the bed. And then, like I said, we're gonna use this as well to support our mufflers. And For the third purpose of these angles, it's gonna be our bed floor. So this section of the bed floor is gonna be a little bit lower. That's gonna start coming up on the C notch here, and it's just gonna flatten out. He could bring coolers out to the shows and put them back here. So this will be a little bit more usable for storage, lawn chairs, tents, t-shirts, what else? Drywall, tools, you know. All right, but all that's gonna get taken care of down the road. But for next episode, we're gonna figure out just how we're gonna get our exhaust out the bedside. So make sure you guys are subscribed, make sure you're giving it a thumbs up, even leave a comment. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.